Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you the timeless classic Moon River. Now, our arrangement is a little bit unique because traditionally this is a song that's played with a straight rhythmic fill. And as you guys saw and heard in the performance, Matt is playing it with a swung rhythmic fill. Now, it goes without saying, anytime that you encounter music that has a swung feel, if you've not done that before, it can be a bit intimidating and confusing. So if you are new to understanding the differences between playing with a straight feel versus playing with a swung feel, jump into this lesson. It'll break things down in complete detail, and I'll put that link in the description box below as well. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, Matt is going to teach you the entire arrangement, but if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for Moon River. Now, also on that page will be the on-screen tab viewer. So this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this, and then I'll see you at the end of the lesson.
Today we're going to work on a solo arrangement of Moon River. Let's go ahead and jump in with Melody A, Theme 1. To start, we're going to play this sort of C chord, and all that we do for it is take our ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the E string. Now we can either pluck or strum our C and E strings together. Both ways will work fine. As you're working through the tutorial, you can use thumb picking or finger picking. There are a couple times where it calls for one or the other, and I'll be sure to specify it at those times. But then from here, we're going to play open on the G, open on the C, open on the E, and open on the G again. So a very straightforward first measure. Sounds something like this in time. Remember, it's 3/4 time with a swing. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Going on to measure 2, we're going to play this A minor add 11. To do this, index finger goes to the 2nd fret of the G string and pinky goes to the 5th fret of the A string. Strum through all 4 strings. Then play just the 3 on the A using your ring finger, and then open on the C. In time, that sounds something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Going on to measure 3 now, we're going to play this F sharp 11, which sounds pretty spicy. To play it, all that you need to do is place your index finger on the 1st fret of the E string and your middle finger here to the 2nd fret of the A string. Strum your C, E, and A together. Then you're going to play open on the G and then open on the A, 3 on the E with the ring finger, and then 1 on the E with the index. So in time, that's something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Going into measure 4 now. Measure 4 is going to go back to that same sort of C chord we played at the beginning, just our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the E string. Play your C and E together, and then you're going to play your open G and your open C. So in time, measure 4 is 1 and 2 and 3 and... And so that we can hear it, here is the first 4 measures all played together, which makes for the first half of theme 1. Should be something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Going on to measure 5 now. Measure 5 is exactly identical to measure 3. So we play that same F sharp 11 chord we did just prior. Same open G, open A, 3 on the E, and 1 on the E. It's exactly the same. And in time, that's 2 and 3 and... And what's really cool is as we go to 6, 6 is exactly the same as 4. So in time, that's going to be 2 and 3 and. Going on to measure 7, now we do something new. We're going to play this B diminished chord. You might know it as a G7, just your middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string, and your your ring finger here on the 2nd fret of the A. You're going to pluck your C, then E, then A. In time, that's 2 and 3 and. Then going into measure 8, we're going to play this E7 chord, and this is one of those times we have to use finger picking. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our index finger on the 1st fret of the G string, middle finger to the 2nd fret of the C string, and our ring finger to the 2nd fret of the A string. And we're going to use our thumb on the G string with our playing hand, index on the E string, and middle on the A string, and we're going to pluck all 3 of those strings together. That's using what's called 3-finger picking. If you instead want to use your middle on the E and ring on the A, that's totally fine. Whatever works, as long as you're getting those 3 notes to ring together. And then to finish that measure, we're going to play open on the E. So measure 8 sounds something like this in time. 2 and 3 and. And now that we can hear the second half of theme 1, it's going to sound something like this. So measures 5 through 8. 2 and 3 and. And now to put that whole melody A theme 1 together, here is measures 1 through 8 played. 2 and 3 and. Now from here we go on to measure 9, which is going to be melody B or theme 2. To start, really simple, we play our open C, open E, and open A. In time, that sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and. Going into measure 10, we play this really fun C7 chord. To do this, take your middle finger, place it on the 3rd fret of the G string. Take your ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the E string. Go and strum your G, C, and E together. And then we're going to take our ring finger off for the open E. And then you can take your index and place it on the 2 of the C. And that finishes that measure. And in time, that sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and. Then going into measure 11 now, we're going to play open on the C string. We take our index and place it on 1 of the E string, and then open on the A. So in time, 11 is 2 and 3 and. Going into measure 12, this B flat 13 chord. The way we play this, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the C string and index finger barred across the 1st fret of the E and the A strings. Now, if you've not done a bar chord like this before, a couple tips. One is get right up next to that fret wire, and the other is make sure that you're pushing in a way where you're bringing the hand a little bit back to pinch on that A string. It can really make the connection great. You'll notice that this finger is bending back this way while this finger is coming up. It's like yoga for your fingers. We're going to do an upstrum here to announce that G string as our melody note. Then open on the E. And just take our hand off and then add 2 on the C. So measure 12 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and. And here are the first 4 bars of theme 2, measures 9, 10, 11, and 12. Should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and. Going on now to measure 13 to continue this theme 2. We're going to play our open C, open E, and open G. And in time, that's going to be 2 and 3 and really easy measure, which is good because the next measure here on 14 is a spicy one. What we're going to do is play this F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Big scary name. It's not as scary to play as it sounds though. You're going to take your middle finger and you're going to place it on the 5th fret of the G string, and then take your ring finger and place it on the 6th fret of the C string. Now this is best to finger pick here with your thumb, index, and middle on the G, C, E strings, because the melody note is here on your G string. And so if you strum through, it kind of gets lost. So I like to finger pick that moment. And then as it goes to this B chord, what you're going to do is take your middle finger and move it down 1 fret to 4, remove your ring finger and add your index finger to fret 3 of the C string. And then you're going to pluck your G and C together. So we have that F sharp minor 7 flat 5, crazy big name, and B7 or B here. And then to finish that measure, we're going to play the open A string. So that measure in time, measure 14, should be something like this. 2 and 3 and. Going into 15, some more crazy chords. E minor 7 to play this, 0 on the G string, 2 on the C with our index finger, 0 on the E string, and 2 on the A string with our middle finger. Go ahead and strum through all 4 strings. Follow this with an A7. Take your middle finger off, move the index down to 1 on the C string and strum through. Then we're going to play 3 on the E, which is just your ring finger here coming over. So 15 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and. And as we go into 16 now, we're going to play a D minor chord. To do this, just your middle finger needs to be here on the C string 2nd fret, index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string. Strum through your C, E, and A. And then for the G7, all that we do is take that ring finger and place it on the 2nd fret of the A string and strum through. So measure 16 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and. So here's what measures 13, 14, 15, and 16 of theme 2 sound like in time. 2 and 3 and. You can hear that I kind of slid into that B chord, right? It's really easy when you're going up to 5 and 6 to get lost. And so that's where those fret markers on the side of your ukulele. You notice I've got these numbers on mine, but what I'm looking at are these little dots. And that can be so helpful, with that F sharp minor 7 flat 5, knowing, okay, my finger's going to be here at the marker. And then for the next one, my finger's going to go just below it, and this one's going to come on it. Those little things can help so much. But now let's hear all of theme 2, so measures 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Should sound something like this in time. 2 and 3 and. Really nice. Now, it's okay to play with feeling, or what we call rubato, as you play through this. You don't have to be perfect with the metronome. It sounds better if you're a little more human with it. But from here, we actually go back to theme 1. So after measure 16, we go back to the beginning of the song and we play through measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 again. And after we've done that, we go on to theme 3. So that you can hear it though, I'm going to play theme 1, then theme 2, then I'm going to repeat theme 1, right? So after 16, it goes back to measure 1. I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for that second time. And then we will get to measure 17, which will be theme 3. But let's go ahead and hear what this sounds like, because it's a little confusing to kind of work through. Should be something like this. 2 and 3 and. to 1. Now, after we've played this for the second time, we will go to the coda here. And what that is going to be is melody C, theme 3. Now, to start with melody C, theme 3, we're going to play some of the same stuff we did before. We're going to play open on the C, open on the E, open on the A. In time, that's something like this. 2 and 3 and. Measure 18. Very easy as well. We're going to play the C and E together. And then we're going to play the open G. In time, 2 and 3 and. And then we're going to go to another F sharp minor 7 flat 5, but a different variation on it. We're going to play 0 on the C, 2 on the G string, 2 on the E string with our index finger, and 3 on the A string with our middle finger. So we're going to play C, E, and A together. Hear how spicy that is. Real crunchy sound, right? And that's going to be held for the whole bar to let that dissonance ring. And that's something like this. 2 and 3 and. Going into measure 20, we're going to play this F13 chord. To do this, there's a couple different ways that we can play it, but my favorite way to do it is going to be the index finger here on the 3rd fret of the C string, the ring finger here on the 5th fret of the E string, and my pinky finger here on the 5th fret of the A string. I'm going to strum through my C, E, and A together, and then I'm going to take the pinky off, and I'm going to play 3 on the A with my middle finger. So in time, that's something like this. 2 and 3 and. And now measures 17, 18, 19, and 20 to start theme 3 should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and. We're going to go that crazy F13. Going on now, we're going to go to 21. And this is my favorite part of the song. It's a little bit more active, some nice eighth notes rolling through. We're going to start with that same little C chord we played at the beginning of the song, just the ring finger on fret 3 of the E string. We're going to play open on the G, open on the C, open on the E, open on the G. In time, 2 and 3 and. Going to 22, we're going to play that same F chord we did before, index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string. This time we're only going to strum our C and E together though. Then we're going to play the 2 on the A with the middle finger, open on the A, 3 on the E with the ring, 1 on the E with the index. So in time, 2 and 3 and. And then we go on to measure 23, which guess what? Is exactly the same as 21. 2 and 3 and. Pretty cool, right? It's repeated. And then measure 24 is going to be very similar to measure 22, but a little bit different. What's going to happen here is we're going to play the 0 and the 1 together. Then we're going to play 2 on the A, and then open A, or open A, and then 3 on the E, and then 1 on the E. And what you might notice is that's actually exactly the same as 22, and you would be correct. You passed the test. Measures 24 and 22 are actually identical. So 24 sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and. So now if we look at measures 21, 22, 23, and 24, it sounds something like this. Again, noticing that 21 and 23 and 22 and 24 are actually repeating each other. Should be 2 and 3 and. And then from here, it goes to the outro. So let's go ahead and hear all of theme 3 played together. It should be something like this. 2 and 3 and. Now we go on to our outro. And I love this part. This outro is really fun to play and sounds really nice. It's got this cool little ascending vibe to it. The first thing that we're going to play on this is an E minor chord. And the easiest way to play this is to use our ring finger here on the 4th fret of the C string and our middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the E string. We're going to pluck our C and E together, then C string and E string. In time, 2 and 3 and then we're going to go down to an A minor 7. We're going to play all open. So we're going to go open on the C, open on the E, open on the A. So that in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and. Then we're going to go to a D minor chord. Middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, index here on the 1st fret of the E string. Pluck our C and E together. C string and then E string, still holding those notes. In time, 2 and 3 and. And then 28 is going to be a G7 chord. You're already holding 2/3 of it. Just add that ring finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and you're there. Strum through and then take your index finger off for the open E. So in time, 2 and 3 and. Now the first 4 bars of the outro, 25 through 28, should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and. And going on to 29, this is that ascending part I mentioned before with the outro. We're going to play an F add 9, just our index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string, pluck our C and E together, open G, and then the C. In time, 2 and 3 and. Then we're going to go to that same E minor we played before with our ring and middle fingers. We're going to play our C and E together, G and C. So in time, 2 and 3 and. And then 31 is going to be a D minor chord, middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string, pluck our C and E together, open G, 2 on the C, in time, 2 and 3 and. And then we're going to play a G7 chord, just add your ring finger here on the 2nd fret of the A string. We're going to play open on the E. That in time, 2 and 3 and. And then going right into 33, because it's the end of the song, we play just an everyday C chord, ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string. And in time, that's 2 and 3 and. So here's 29 through the end. The second part of the outro should be something like this. 2 and 3 and. And so that you can hear it, here is the entire outro, starting with measure 25 through the end. 2 and 3 and. And there you have it, the full arrangement of Moon River. Remember to use that rubato technique I talked about, which is just playing with emotion or feeling so that you can really make this arrangement sing. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time for the next lesson here on Rock Class 101. Thanks so much.
All right, guys, so this week's lesson was a ton of fun. This is a timeless classic tune, one of my favorite melodies. It's just so elegant and so beautiful, and I mean, I can't think of a better word than timeless. Now, I do want to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print and keep for your records, that was available at this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for Moon River. Now, also on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, watch that tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.